Once upon a time, there was a beautiful statue of a prince. The statue stood high on a tall column in the middle of a city. The statue was made of solid gold and covered with precious jewels. The people in the city admired the statue and thought it was a symbol of happiness. However, the statue was not happy at all. He had a kind heart and could see the suffering and sadness in the city. From his high position, he could see the poor people who struggled to survive. He saw a young boy shivering in the cold and a little match girl trying to sell matches in the freezing winter. One night, a little swallow who was flying to Egypt stopped to rest on the statue. The statue spoke to the swallow and asked him for help. He asked the swallow to take the ruby from his sword and give it to the poor boy, who was hungry. The swallow agreed, plucked the ruby from the statue's sword, and flew away to find the boy. The next morning, the swallow found the boy and dropped the precious gem into his outstretched hand. The next day, the prince saw a poor seamstress who was trying to sew clothes for her children, but she didn't have any money for food. The prince asked the swallow to pluck his sapphire eyes and give them to the seamstress. The swallow did as he was asked and gave the sapphires to the woman. Overwhelmed with gratitude, the woman wept tears of joy. The prince felt a surge of happiness as he witnessed the impact of his generosity. As the days went by, the swallow continued to help the prince. He took the gold leaf from the statue and gave it to a poor playwright who was freezing in his garret. He also took the precious stones from the statue and gave them to the poor people in the city. Eventually, the swallow's stay in the city came to an end. Winter was approaching, and he needed to fly to warmer lands. The prince was sad to see the swallow leave, but he thanked him for his kindness and selflessness. The swallow promised to carry the prince's message of love and generosity wherever he went. Winter arrived, and the city was covered in snow. The statue of the prince was no longer beautiful and shiny. Instead, it was covered in snow and looked dull and gray. The mayor of the city thought the statue was now useless and ordered it to be torn down and melted. As the workers were about to destroy the statue, ready to break it apart, they heard a strange sound coming from within. They discovered that the sound was coming from the statue's heart, which was hidden inside. The heart, they noticed, was made of lead, a material that does not melt easily. The mayor was surprised and asked the workers to stop the work. He realized that the statue was different from what he had thought. As he stood before the statue, he carefully examined it. He noticed that the statue had lost its outer beauty and appeared dull and gray, covered in snow and frost. But then he remembered the stories that had started circulating about the statue's hidden heart. Listening to the tales of those who had witnessed the statue's miracles, the mayor began to piece together the true nature of the happy prince. He realized that the statue was not just a symbol of beauty, but a symbol of kindness and selflessness. He understood that the prince had sacrificed his own comfort and wealth to help the poor and needy of the city. With this newfound understanding, the mayor made a decision. He declared that the statue of the happy prince would not be destroyed. Instead, It would stand as a monument to remind the people of the city of the importance of empathy and compassion towards others. And the little swallow, true to his promise, carried the prince's message of love and kindness wherever he flew. Even though he was far away, the prince and the swallow remained friends forever, spreading happiness and joy to everyone they encountered.